There's this invisible giant in our economy. It's this massive financial engine that helps build our cities, grow our food, and power our tech. And honestly, most people have never even heard of it. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden industry that makes so much of our modern world actually possible.
Okay, just look at this number for a second. $1.16 trillion. That is a staggering amount of money, right? It's bigger than the entire economy of a lot of countries. But what does it even represent? Well, that's the record-breaking value of everything from construction cranes to life-saving medical scanners that businesses got their hands on, not by buying them, but by financing them. This is the engine we're talking about today, equipment finance.
So to really get our heads around this, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the sheer scale of this industry. Then, we'll tackle the core problem it solves, how it works as a solution, who the key players are, and finally, a really fascinating shift that's happening in the lending world as we speak.
All right, let's start with the basics. What exactly is this trillion-dollar engine?
At its core, it's actually pretty simple. Instead of a business totally draining its bank account to buy some huge piece of machinery, it partners up with a lender to basically pay for that equipment over time. It's a really strategic way to get the tools you need without that massive upfront hit. And the sheer variety of stuff is just staggering. We're not just talking about a few tractors or computer servers here. This industry touches literally everything, from the combines that harvest our food, to the MRI machines in our hospitals, to the planes we fly in, and even the ovens in your favorite local bakery. Seriously, it's everywhere.
So this brings us to a huge challenge that pretty much every single business owner faces. Let's call it the growth dilemma.
Think about it. To grow, you need the best tools, the latest software, the most efficient machines, right? But getting those things forces you to spend your most precious asset. Any guesses what that is?
Yep, cash. It's the absolute lifeblood of any company. And making a massive outright purchase can just suck that resource dry, leaving you totally vulnerable and unable to invest in other crucial things like hiring new people or launching a big marketing campaign.
And this is exactly where equipment financing stops being just a transaction and becomes a brilliant strategic tool for smart growth.
So why is this such a smarter way to go about it? Well, it's not just about dodging one big payment. The benefits are layered and, frankly, pretty powerful. For starters, you get to keep your cash for other opportunities. The payments are fixed, which makes budgeting a total breeze and helps protect you against inflation. Plus, you can regularly upgrade to the latest tech so you never fall behind the competition. This is how you turn a huge capital risk into a totally manageable operational expense.
And the whole process is designed to be really straightforward. You figure out what you need, you work with a lender on the application, you sign the agreement, and boom, your new equipment gets delivered. It's all built for speed, so businesses can get the tools they need and get right back to work.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's talk about the who. Who are these lenders that are providing over $1 trillion in financing?
So the ecosystem basically has a few key players. You've got your traditional banks. They're usually pretty conservative and like working with established businesses. You have what are called captives, which are owned by the equipment makers themselves. Then there are the independents, who are known for being way more flexible. And finally, you have brokers, who kind of act like matchmakers, connecting businesses to the perfect lender for their situation.
And just to make that idea of a captive lender super clear, think about John Deere Financial or Caterpillar Financial. When you go to buy a big yellow Caterpillar excavator, their own finance company is sitting right there ready to help you fund it. It's a totally seamless, brand-specific experience.
And this brings us to the most exciting part of our explainer today, because right now there's a huge shift happening in the world of equipment finance. Now, the data on this slide tells a really clear story. As banks are getting more and more conservative, look at their approval rates dropping. Independent lenders are stepping up in a huge way. Their approval rates have jumped significantly, which shows they're becoming a way more critical source of funding for businesses. And this quote from an industry CEO, Pat Hoiby, just nails it. He says independents are filling the critical gaps that banks are leaving behind. Why? Because they can be quicker and way more creative, helping businesses that just don't fit into a bank's rigid little box. They're providing a vital lifeline.
And within this group of independents, a really cool category is emerging, the story lender. These are funders who look past the raw numbers on a balance sheet. They actually want to understand the business's vision, the strength of its leadership team, and its potential for success.
This quote just perfectly captures their whole mission.
doesn't it? It's all about finding a way to say yes and believe in a company's story when traditional lenders who are only focused on credit scores might have just said no. It's a much more human, relationship-driven way of doing business.
So who are the ones benefiting? Well, it's exactly who you might think. Startups that don't have a long financial history, companies in a big turnaround, or innovative businesses with amazing potential, but maybe less than perfect credit. For these companies, story lenders aren't just another option. A lot of the time, they're the only option.
So when you zoom out, you start to realize this whole thing isn't really about balance sheets and loan terms. This hidden trillion-dollar industry is fundamentally about turning ambition into reality. It's the financial fuel for innovation and the quiet partner behind so much economic growth.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Whether you run a business now or just have a dream for one, what amazing idea could you launch? What big problem could you solve if just getting the tools you need was no longer the biggest thing standing in your way?